Welcome to Nerdside Champs. I am Dan. The person down there at the bottom is Tim hyphen subscribe to at Nerd Champs. We are the Nerd Champs. Over here on the right side of your screen, that is Jason, and he is going to join us today as we talk about this cinematic, not quite cinematic, but television masterpiece that is Battle for Endor. Not to be confused with the Battle of Endor. The Battle of
Which was
Endor.
actually awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
the Battle of Endor was actually awesome. So
Yes, that would be
this is the
documented
bad
in
battle.
Return of the Jedi. That is in Return of the Jedi. It was not a television movie. It was an actual movie type movie. And as far as me and Tim were concerned, is the last canonical entry into the Star Wars canon. There has only ever been 3.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive that they only did 3 and it's been so popular for so
Yeah,
long.
it is like 3. They quit like over 30 years ago, and it's just like it just keeps.
Well, it's good to quit when you're ahead.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I wish more Hollywood franchises would learn that. So we're on to Battle for Endor. Jason, you're the guest. What are your initial thoughts? Just your rough initial thoughts.
Okay. It's not good. It's really, really not good at all. I like some of the claymation stuff. I like, let's see, what else did I like? I thought the score was okay. Wilford Brimley being in it is it's pretty dope.
Yeah.
And that's about all the positives I have to say for it.
Oh, what is
Claymation's cool.
Yeah. The stuff. What about you, Tim? What are your key first takeaways?
Well, I have to give credit for improvement here, okay?
Yeah.
Because of the 3 TV specials, this was the last one, and it seemed like each time they got a little bit better. Now, when I say a little bit better, I mean a little bit better. Like we're talking about the difference between a 1 and a 1.5, okay? We're not talking like way better. But as far as this one goes, this was the most like Star Warsian story. If you were going to get one, there were blaster fights in this one, and some of the stuff that the sets were much better in this one than they were in the last one. The camera work and editing was much better in this one than it was in the last one. As Jason mentioned, the score was actually much better in this one than it was in the last one. And the cast. Now, look, the cast, I'm not going to say they did a great job, but, you had Wilford Brimley, you had Paul Gleason, and you had Warwick Davis, okay? So in the 1980s, man, you had the grandpa from Our House, you had the principal from Breakfast Club, and you had Willow all in one little TV special. I mean, that's a 1980s wet dream right there. So, I don't know what to say other than it was still just really bad. There were a lot of things about it that I actually think there were a few things that were steps backwards. I didn't like that they made Wicket talk in this one. I thought that was really kind of weird. It's basically George just acknowledging, it was really stupid that I didn't have anybody that could talk in the last one, so let's make one of them talk this time.
Yeah, sit down,
and then the story actually was not bad. Okay, now I'm not saying it was executed well, directed well, any of that kind of stuff, but the one thing I will say is that the story actually reminded me kind of like some of the episodes of The Mandalorian, where it's like they come upon this village. There's a village that gets overrun by like some weird marauder characters, and then they have to kind of save the village. That's happened more than once in The Mandalorian. So it was kind of similar to something that we saw from that, which wasn't bad. I think where it was bad was just the quality, the budget, all the stuff that we talked about last time. So my initial thoughts are better, but still bad.
And now Tim brings up The Mandalorian, which is an entree for those looking for lasting relevance. We did get the very first ever introduction to the blurgs in this special. The blurgs were in it. They were stop motion. The stop motion in this special was far and away better than the stop motion in
Much
the
better.
first. Yeah,
Much
the
better.
character design, the actual movie. So we got the Blurgs, and the Blurgs played a large role in the Clone Wars cartoons, and then a really large role in the Mandalorian. So there's one for you. We got Blurgs. What'd you think of the Blurgs, Jason?
Those were the T-Rex looking things with the short arms
that they ride.
Cool. Yeah, those were cool. That was the stop motion stuff I really liked. The dragon in the cave, that is not as good stop motion. But
no.
Did it seem like that girl was a discount Drew Barrymore?
Yeah, we mentioned that last time.
Yeah, we hit on that girl. They wanted Gertie. They want that little blonde girl because that was what you'd had to have in the 80s. And of course, Drew Barrymore isn't going to be making Ewok TV specials at that time. So
the Olsen twins weren't born yet. So this is, this is who you had to go with, somebody else. But
yeah, I feel like this special, they did the first special, right? And think of it like an essay that you did like in college, and you got it back with specific things that were bad. And they think about trying to correct those specific things. You know what I'm saying? So the first special, all of the acting in the family was just awful. So they're like, okay, how do we fix that? Well, okay, we're going to recast Dad with Paul Gleason from The Breakfast Club. And then Mom.
I heard a ruckus. I heard a ruckus, Dan.
Yeah.
Everybody has to admit, every time we see Paul Gleason on screen, we all say in our head, I heard a ruckus. Or another one. That's another one right there.
What, Jason?
I hear, mess with the bull, you get the horn.
That's right.
That's the line I always go to.
But he did hear a ruckus. There was a ruckus at the Ewok village, and Mom is already dead. She is stone cold dead in the very first theme. We don't even see her face.
Yeah.
She is face down in the dirt, dead. And then her
They
brother
killed off all the characters from the last movie.
Yeah. Yes.
And they recast the dad. They recast the dad.
The plot of the first movie is they have crash landed on Endor. When it opens, they've already crash landed. And the kids ran off because that's what kids do. They were supposed to stay at the ship. They ran off. The parents can't find them. And the parents are abducted by Sweetums from the Muppets. And so the kids unite with bump into the Ewoks. And then they go save the parents from Sweetums. And then we open this one, they've made good friends with the Ewoks. They've fixed the ship. It's time to go. And then the whole family gets massacred.
That's incredible. I like this movie more now. The fact that they just killed off this family.
And I think what's really funny, Jason, is you don't know this because you haven't seen the other one, but Dan is right. The reason they killed the family is essentially because they were all terrible actors. And I feel like the mom especially was one that was up there. The kid, the 15-year-old kid, he was another one. And we mentioned before, we said the girl was not good, but she was a girl, so we would kind of let it slide a little bit.
Yeah.
But the acting from the actual actors in the last one was just so bad. So
well, this one wasn't great.
Yeah.
So they're like, how are we going to get rid of these people? Like, you know what? We'll just kill them for the first 5 minutes.
That's right.
Yeah, the mom doesn't even have to talk.
So they're in the middle of a blaster fight, and the teenage kid drags his dead mom, who's clearly already dead, drags her to a grass hut. It's just like, now I don't know anything about blasters, but I imagine that a grass hut is never going to be a safe haven in a blaster fight.
Yes.
So the whole thing was just cataclysmically stupid. I don't know. I was just thinking to myself the whole time, the kid should have just seen his mom was dead and took off. I got to save my sister. He didn't think any of those instincts. He said, I got to save my dead mom.
Yeah. I've got to get mom into a hut.
I got to save my dead mom by getting her into the grass hut in this blaster fight. He deserved to die. He's too stupid to live. Okay.
I just kept thinking they weren't really dead. I kept thinking they weren't really dead. At least the brother wasn't really dead.
Yeah.
But nope.
I thought that too. I was
they're
going to come back in the third
Yeah.
And you know what?
Yeah.
The thumbnail on Disney Plus, and I don't know where this marketing material
It
came
was like
from.
the family just sitting there.
Yeah, I don't
You
know
know?
if this was in the ads.
Real life.
Like the thumbnail, it prominently features the brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in front, the blaster. Like this adventure is centered all around him, and he's dead like that, man.
Yeah.
As soon as this opens, we got comments. Hold on, let's just get the comments up here, and then we'll prolong. We'll see what else they found to fix. Okay, we got Barry Allen who's slow. Says someone has to do an internet edit with Rings of Power, put these terrible low budget Endorian Marauders in place of the orcs.
That would be
You know,
amazing. That would be amazing. We have to admit.
Yeah. And then we've got isn't Teak supposed to be in the upcoming Disney project?
No,
All right. Okay. So
sorry.
so we haven't
I had to
made it.
do dadly duties.
Yeah. So if you now I know that Skeleton Crew is going to be bad.
Oh,
And if
yeah.
you're out there and you want to know how I know the Skeleton Crew is going to be bad,
They took a character from this show. Okay.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
Teak is
no.
going to be in Skeleton Crew.
is gonna be in
Wait,
Skeleton
what?
Crew. So yeah.
Teak, the little
The
The little
nice
goat,
furry-
the little speedy goat. Yeah, the little speedy goat thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also made a joke about their about its that monster's pronouns.
Yeah.
They didn't mention them. So
If there's anybody out there who's ever wanted to criticize like the character design of the Ewoks or anything else out there as being too cute or not real, man, just look at Teak and you'll know that this stuff is harder than you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
he's
crazy
always
looking.
like twitching.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the weird face. It's just bad, man. Teak's
Yeah.
whole thing is just not
Good.
weird. So anyway, so we open, they've repaired the ship, they're gonna go, and they're like, oh yeah, the family sucks. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna kill them in the first 5 minutes. And I feel like I gave the writers too much credit because I'm trying to figure out like these marauders that come and raid the Ewok village and
Yeah.
kill her whole family.
Mhm.
I'm trying to figure out, they have to be indigenous to Endor, right? Because they have a castle.
This was always my biggest problem with the last one, right? Was we never saw this giant something that was clearly a parallel to the Cyclops.
Uh-oh. Tim's slowing
Oh,
down.
awful. Uh-oh.
All right.
Hey, one more second, guys. I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
All right. So anyway, Jason's got stuff and Tim has frozen. All right. Okay.
All right, we're back. We're back.
All right. So I think Tim's gonna have to jump out and come back. He'll be back in a minute. But
Man, Tim got brothered like the guy in Endor.
but yeah. Anyway, I looked it up and let's see if I put him back on if he comes. There we go. I'll just leave it like that and he'll pop in when he gets back. But so I looked it up on Wikipedia and the director and the guys who wrote it were talking about the development of the story. And the Marauders are called Space Marauders. So they're
Clever.
not from Endor. But they spend the whole show. Okay. So Tim, I looked it up on Wikipedia. The Marauders are Space Marauders.
Okay.
So that means to me that they're not from Endor.
That's what you would assume, but they were
Right.
looking for the power source that they couldn't explain the whole time. For what reason?
Yeah. See, they're trying to steal a starship battery because they think it has magical powers over the stars. But apparently they're from space and have their own ships. So wouldn't they know that the starship battery doesn't have magical star power?
Yeah, this show just got colossally more stupid with that explanation. I'm not gonna lie. That makes no sense. So yeah, something
They
that was
built a
dumb.
castle with a moat.
Something that was dumb just got significantly dumber. So yeah.
But maybe
Yeah, they built that whole castle.
yeah.
Was that like a trailer?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe they just hit a button and a
And
cap.
they've done space travel before. They've done space travel. They know what the little reactor thing was that they were looking at. I mean, they had to know, right?
Right?
So I it's just like if you've never seen a car before and you're like, oh, this car battery, it's the eternal source. Well, if you've driven a car before, you know what a car battery is. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I don't really understand unless they have some kind of other kind of space travel. They did have the witch lady with them, so maybe that, I don't know. There's something weird there.
Oh, was she a space witch? Because it ties back into the acolyte.
Yeah. So maybe space marauders just means marauders on an alien planet. I don't know.
I don't either.
But they called them space marauders.
Yeah.
So anyway, and now so they've killed the whole family so they can get the power cell or battery out of Sindel. It's Sindel Tawani. It's the Tawani family. And because they know it's the power. It's the power. And they, even though they're like big, ugly mutant marauders, they do have a witch that turns into a crow because, of course, we need more earth animals. And
sometimes a pretty blonde lady, too.
Yeah. And she looks like a human.
Yeah.
But she hangs out with these big, ugly mutant things.
She reminded me of Rita Repulsa.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good comp. That's a good comp. And the power to turn into a bird, I mean, that's straight from a David Eddings novel. So there's a lot of different a lot of different things that they stole from other people. So
it'll be
could she choose other animals, or like is it only
it was always a bird in this one? I don't know, man.
Yeah, she was always just a crow. And then it was linked to her ring. She'd have to twist her ring.
Yeah.
And then she would turn into a, and that will be important later, folks. That ring is important.
Oh, will it ever?
So anyway,
buckle your seatbelts, folks.
Yeah, the marauders kill her, and then the dad dies, telling Sindel to run. You know, you got to get away, survive, and of course, that's touching. But she doesn't get away at all. She runs straight ahead, and then the crow woman catches her, and she gets rounded up with the rest of the Ewoks. And
let's talk about the breakout. Let's talk about the breakout. Okay, we've got to discuss the breakout. Okay, okay. So first of all, these marauders. I mean, the little cage that they throw them in is not a very secure cage to begin with. Okay,
no, not at all.
But at least there's like soldiers like on either side, and there's like, you know, all this stuff. Well, they figure out they can just pick up the floorboards and go underneath, right? But then you would still think once they're outside that there would be soldiers all around, right? But there's not. So
they're immediately spotted.
Yeah. Well, not immediately, not until they're like into the woods.
Well, no, actually, they almost get stepped on by a blurg.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the dude riding that blurg doesn't care. The blurg is freaked out and almost stepped on something. Doesn't even notice. And then, the two guys at the very end are like, oh, hey, 2 escapees. And them and only them go after them.
Yeah.
And why didn't they catch him? I don't even remember why they didn't catch him.
I don't remember either. Like, well, they got on the cliff and then they fell off. Those guys fell off the cliff.
They followed him up the cliff.
And so that was, and then there was the dragon inside there and all that stuff. So
there's a lot of cliffs on this forest moon.
Yeah.
And there were the cliffs and the mountains have become a huge part of Endor in the two TV specials.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then so we got our getaway, but they did learn. Okay, so you can't get Burl Ives back because apparently he was narrating a different special.
Yeah.
Jason, can you hear us? Oh, Jason, can I try again?
Yeah, his audio seemed to be off a little bit. I don't know. So anyway.
So Burl Ives isn't available. So you need somebody to explain what's going on. So you know what? Ewoks can talk now.
Yeah, I know. Wicket can just talk now. I don't get it, man. I don't understand why Wicket would talk. You know, it doesn't make sense that he would have learned any English at all, let alone enough to carry on conversation. But here we are. I mean, you know, he all of a sudden knows how to tell people what he wants. He knows how to tell people his plans. He knows, I mean, it just makes no sense.
Yeah, it's very obviously not been much time because this little girl is not much older. She is aged very little, but now Wicket can have a pretty good conversation with her. They just chat it up.
Mm-hmm.
So no Burl Ives, that's no problem. We'll just make Wicket talk,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll kill off the whole family.
Mm-hmm.
And then to up the acting, we're gonna go into the woods and we're gonna find Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
You know, but first we're gonna run into a little speedster guy because the Ewoks aren't cute enough. We don't have enough cute aliens. We need a new
this
toy
this
to
isn't a
sell.
cute alien, Dan. I don't know about you.
I don't know. I
This
feel
is
like the
nightmare
goal was
I
cute.
don't think there are kids that wanted little stuffed teaks. I don't know about you, but they might have wanted the little stuffed Ewoks to sleep with, but they didn't want the stuffed teak. That little ugly critter. I wouldn't have wanted that thing.
I feel was this like an attempt to split the difference between like Yoda and an Ewok? Like were they trying to go like ugly? I don't know, man.
I think I honestly think they wanted us to think that there's other creatures on Endor that we just haven't been introduced to yet. And I think that they kind of wanted something that was going to be another character that they could bridge, and it never really bridged until recently here. But to me, it was also one of those cop-out characters. Okay, Teak's speed was one of those things that you could use as a convenient thing in the plot somewhere, and they did. So
an ex machina.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I think they introduced the character itself, is they just wanted some kind of a cop out for something that could conveniently move the plot forward.
Yeah, and we skipped over the dragon because after they escape, that's where they're going to sleep in a cave, and all of a sudden, for no apparent reason, they're in the cave, and Wicket finds some rags, just a couple of little rags,
and some bones, right?
And some bones.
Yeah,
and Wicket didn't think. And the girl didn't think, I wonder why there's a bunch of bones here.
Yeah.
Like, you know, maybe this isn't a safe place, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And all but like in no time at all, the girl lays down to go to sleep, and Wicket has made a full-fledged hang glider from these rags and bones.
And it was clearly the exact same hand glider that they had before. Okay.
And he's taking those rags with no needles and no threads, and he has sewn them together so well that you would swear they took a regular nylon hang glider and just painted stitch lines on it.
Now, Dan, something else you would notice is he looked at that very beautifully and tightly knit hand glider that he had built, and he said, not good enough. You know what I need? One more bone. That's what I need. I need that one more bone. And he goes, he looks for the big bone. He wakes up the dragon. The dragon takes Sindel, and then he says, forget that one more bone thing. I'm just going to use the hand glider anyway. Right. So you could have just done without it anyway. I don't.
Yeah, and he runs into like he wakes up a dragon, and a dragon takes Sindel, and it's just like, you know what? It just so happens that I just got done making a hang glider. Exactly what I'm gonna need.
Has fortune with
this dragon.
Yeah,
that whole sequence.
Then the dragon drops her, and he is able to dive faster than gravity to catch her. Did you notice that? That was another.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we don't know how gravity works on Endor.
Yeah, he is an ace hang glider pilot, Tim. He is like a master. He is one with that hang glider. He made it from scratch. He knows what it can and can't do.
That's right.
Okay. Oh,
so I have a dumb question.
Okay.
How long is this after Return of the Jedi?
Okay. So Return of the Jedi in May of 1983. Caravan of Courage aired on ABC in November 25th, 1984. Okay, so it's like about a year and a half later, the first one.
This is a year later, right, Dan?
Yeah, this one is November 24th, 1985. Mm-hmm. So it's only been like 2.5 years since Return of the Jedi.
And
what
that's
about
if those.
timeline wise?
Yeah.
Are these the same Ewoks that fought against the Empire?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this is Wicket. This is
Wicked.
This is Wicket. That is the same exact one that Leia met.
Not only is that the same Ewok, that is the same actor in the Ewok costume. That is Warwick Davis. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and here's the other thing. Like, now we don't know the timeline that was established in the 80s because they don't really bother talking about it. I guess in Legends canon, in the novels, it was retconned that these events took place before Return of the Jedi, which obviously they make. Now, everybody loves Legends canon, but that makes no sense.
It doesn't, because one of them dies in the previous chapter. So
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense because we see them in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. And the other thing is that Wicket can't speak English in Return of the Jedi.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
He would have just said, instead of poking him with the spear, he would have been like, "Who are you?" You know?
Yeah. I mean, he runs into Leia, and the best he can manage is yub nub, nub nub, okay. You know that's you know that's all he can say in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make it. So this has to have been after Return of the Jedi. Now, why? So anyway, Teak finds him after he crashed the hang glider, our little ugly speedster dude. And Teak takes him to a house that they think is abandoned because it's such a mess. But no, Teak lives with Grandpa. He lives with Wilford Brimley, Noah. Now, yeah, this has to be, but this is after Return of the Jedi. So how he has been stranded on Endor for years.
Yeah.
He explains it was his first mission.
Yeah.
And they went there, and him and his friend crash landed, and his friend went to go find power because their battery, wonder of wonders, the thing that just got salvaged from the Tawani's ship is the thing that was broken on his ship that his friend went to go find, and he never came back. How the whole battle.
Wilford Brimley just. Oh,
go ahead.
Wilford Brimley just sucked and didn't help defeat the Empire. Like, all that was going on, he was just like, "I'm not dealing with that."
Like, he's been there for I don't know how long. Did he not notice?
I mean, there was a war that happened on the planet. I mean, it's a moon, but you know, there's a war that happened literally where he was, and he was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay in my little house. And it's not like it's a house that's not noticeable. Like, there's a fireplace with smoke, and like, you know, it's
he's
like
marooned there.
Some trooper would have just been like, knock, knock, knock. Are you aware that we're here fighting a war? I mean, you know,
he's marooned there. He doesn't want to be there. He's been there for 10, 20, 30. I don't know.
You're waiting on someone to come and rescue you. That's the whole, you know. Yeah.
And then the Empire shows up and builds a whole base of operations so that they can build a space station the size of a planet.
And the Marauders build a castle. I mean, you know, a castle that his buddy got taken to until he rotted there in their dungeon.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's been there this whole time.
Yeah. But basically he never left more than like a half mile from the ship. You know, he walked a little ways from the ship. He built a hut.
He was like, what? Good enough. I mean, he never thought to himself. He never thought to himself, not once. I wonder what's going on with that castle. Maybe I should go like investigate. He didn't do any of that.
He never looked up in the sky and it was like, you know, he's like, you know, that big giant moon wasn't there before.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and it exploded yesterday. I wonder what that was all about. Why did that big moon explode?
Oh man, yeah.
And here's the other thing: his ship didn't have the power to take off, but like some of the systems kind of worked. He was always working on. So like, did his communicators not work at all?
Yeah.
Was he not getting any radio signals of like the Empire or the Rebellion or no?
Yeah, or I don't know, man.
So maybe this is before Return of the Jedi, and Wicket was just being a dick.
Yeah, I don't know. That might be it. That might be it, man.
Because here's the other thing. the first thing all the Ewoks wanted to do when they found the humans in Return of the Jedi is roast them on a spit above an open fire and eat them.
Yeah.
That was their plan. So this is before that, like in Caravan of Courage, why weren't they cooking them up to eat?
Yeah.
You have to think that, no, this is after, so they know what humans are, so they're not going to try to eat them.
Mm-hmm.
But if it is after, then what's like, is Noah retarded? Like, what is he doing out there?
Yeah, I have no idea, man. This is just one of those. I don't know if it. Once again, George wrote the entire story for this. He didn't write the screenplay, but he wrote the entire story for this. I don't know where the dots were supposed to be connecting, and this is kind of the problem with these intermediate storylines that kind of are just the idea that George had is somebody sold him on the idea that after Return of the Jedi, you got to put something Star Wars out so people keep it fresh in their mind. And that's what this was, both of these. And it just kind of ended up not working. I mean, you basically rushed a story together, and then when you put it out, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. A lot of the stuff doesn't line up. And so I don't know. A lot of people don't even know that these stories are out there. This
is our continuing quest.
I didn't.
Yeah, this is our quest to let everybody know.
Yeah.
That even though Disney does make horrible Star Wars.
Yeah.
George is not infallible, and he did not care as deeply as you think.
Yeah.
And he did not have this immaculately laid out.
This was not on the level of some of the great fantasy writers. There are so many great fantasy writers that have spent decades building their worlds in so many different ways and have written books on the languages before they even release their novels. And the geography and all that kind of stuff. George didn't do any of that. Okay. Yeah. And it's pretty obvious that he didn't do any of that when you look at how he kind of just moves from one story to the next. He was not on the level of those guys. Okay.
The Wikipedia was funny. They had 2 4-hour story meetings.
Uh-huh.
And George comes in and says, I just watched Heidi with my daughters and they liked it.
Yeah.
So how about we orphan off the little girl and she meets up with a curmudgeonly old man? That'll work.
Yeah.
Honestly, God, that's how they come up with it. They're just like, hey, let's do Heidi, but with
Ewok. Let's do Space Heidi. Yeah, that's
So anyway, they find Noah. Of course, Noah's get out of my house, but then he cares. Whatever.
Diabetes. Yeah, that's
Hey, you suffer from diabetes.
He was looking for one of those cocoons so he could cocoon himself.
But he runs them off. But the thing is, she had made soup and muffins. And once he tastes the soup and the muffins, he's like, okay, we could bring them back.
Yeah. And then they come in, both of them, Teak and her, or was it Wicket and her?
Wicket
and Wicket that had the little bundles of little space weeds that look like dandelions or something. And he goes, oh, we can make pies with that. And we're okay. So they make some pies, and that's how they kind of end up breaking bread, if you will.
That's really where Dan turned on the movie right there.
Yeah. I do not like pie. I do not like pie.
Dan hates pie, as you all will find out this next week in a short that we're going to release.
If fruit is nature's candy, nature can keep their candy. Okay? Who needs fruit? Just keep it. Who needs fruit when you have granulated sugar? That's what I want to know.
I mean, there's sugar in pie, Dan. I mean, anyway. Yeah. So they make the pie, okay? They make the pie, and then what happens again? How they leave after they make the pie, right? Just to
the next they sleep there, the girl has a nightmare.
Yeah.
The next morning, Wicket tells her
nightmare sequence.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that she has a nightmare that the Marauders bust down the door.
And one of them is in in Noah's bed, right?
Yeah,
And one of
the
them
head
is
was sleeping in
Wilford
Noah's
Brimley.
bed. But and then the next morning, she has again, Wicket is like he can explain some stuff. So Noah's went off to do who knows what, work on his ship or whatever. And they did follow Noah to his ship somewhere in here. But at this point, they've done that. And now Wicket tells Sindel, he goes, we got to go find my family. Because, you could just have these kind of conversations now. He's like, I got to go help my fam.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, back at the Marauder headquarters, the head Marauder dude has told the witch lady unlock the power of this battery. They have basically
he's trying to do some
like the big square battery you'd get from an old school flashlight. That's so basically they're chanting over the battery.
And how dumb do you have to be? I'm not gonna be, but like, if you see it come out of a ship,
yeah,
you would just think there's this hole that's conveniently the size of the thing that we just stole. Maybe we could put it in there and something will happen. I just don't get how, explain this magic to me. I get maybe these aliens were not the brightest, but it kind of seems to me like, once again, they should have been familiar with flying technology anyway. That already doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But that they saw where the thing came from and didn't think maybe we should go back there and see what. But they didn't do any of that. They're just like
brightest. They're not the brightest bulbs.
Yeah.
So, but let's say that they are indigenous to Endor. They're from Endor.
Uh-huh.
They have blaster technology.
Yeah, I mean,
they have laser guns.
Those things run on some form of battery cell, I would assume, right? I mean,
they have technology beyond what we have.
I mean, this isn't just like bows and arrows and crossbows and stuff, right? I mean, they actually have technology that requires a battery. They know what a battery is.
No, she just did that witch stuff over it. Accidentally got
she charges with their blasters with witch chants. That's why she's shocked that her witch chant doesn't make the starship battery do anything. She's just like, and he's
like, she did that, but like I said, she accidentally got 3 people pregnant.
Yeah.
But she claims that the little girl must know how to make it work. Remember? Because he's like, you make this work or I'm going to kill you right here. And she's like, you know what? It's your fault.
Little girl.
Let that little girl get away.
That's right.
You put some bad guards that let them go out the bottom of a wagon.
They just literally just pulled a floorboard out.
Yeah.
And they didn't even notice until it was the last 2 dudes. So that's all on you, buddy. And he's like, you find the little girl. So they find the little girl and they're like, hey, 3-year-old girl, explain to us how technology works. And she's like, it goes into, she even like, she tells them, she's at least like this. She is an awful actress. Her whole family gets massacred to start the show.
Not one tear.
Zero emotion involved in that.
Yeah.
Absolutely none.
Yeah.
There's not one moment's sadness.
Or a sociopath.
Yeah.
It was like this. It was like, they're dead. Yeah. And that was it. And I was like, oh.
She didn't even look down. She wasn't even like, they're dead. It was just like, they're dead.
Yeah.
Now you're my new dad, Wilford Brimley.
That's right.
Yeah. So the whole family's dead. It's like she doesn't comprehend it, but she is smart enough to make soup, muffins, pie.
Uh-huh.
She knows what the starship battery is for. She's like, hey, dumbass, that powers the ship. When he's like, unlock the power of the stars.
But she's still dumb enough to be like, very clearly that blonde-haired lady is the bad guy.
Yeah.
It's clearly the bad guy.
Yeah. Oh, that was funny. So anyway, so now what it's up to Wicket to go tell Wilford Brimley and Teak that we have to go save Sindel from these people. And all of a sudden, I think all of a sudden Wilford Brimley knows where the castle is, right? Isn't that what happens?
Yeah.
All of it. He's like, oh yeah, the place up there. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched him build that. So
Yeah, I know Bob. Let's go talk to him. Come on. It was weird.
Yeah. So now they're off on a rescue mission. And okay, so of course she can't make it work. So she gets locked up in the dungeon next to Noah's partner's skeleton.
The skeleton carcass.
And the witch lady is trapped right next to her, trying to talk her into like, hey, give this up. Stop telling him it doesn't do stuff. The witch lady is honestly like, why don't you unlock the magic? You better think about unlocking that magic before we both get killed. It's so great. It's so great. She's just like totally convinced that this little girl's holding out. This 3-year-old. She knows the secrets. And she's so brave. She's gonna like lie to the Marauder King. And so they get there, and I can't even remember. Oh, Teak with his high, like, he's doing Flash stuff. He's doing the Flash. He's doing Quicksilver. He moves so fast.
Yeah.
That nobody can see him grab the keys and get to the dungeon. And then he
there's
tricks
your
the
convenient plot moving right there.
Yeah. Yeah. He tricks the 2 guards into thinking they're cheating at cards, and they kill each other.
Yeah.
And one great thing that this is the 80s is that Wicket has the keys, and he's freeing all the Ewoks, and he's freeing Sindel, and he goes to free the witch lady. And Sindel's like, no, she's bad. And she takes the keys and throws them in a storm grate. If that show happened today, that witch lady would have a face turn. She would be the new mother figure. All of a sudden, she'd be the hero of the piece.
What I don't understand, she can turn. I mean, I know she doesn't have a ring. All right, she can turn into a crow, right? Yeah. So, I think, but she doesn't have a ring, so that's probably what the thing was there. But at some point, that had to be a convenient thing in and out of that cell, but they just didn't go that direction.
So, anyway, they go zip lining. They have some fun zip lining with their bare hands down a rope to escape the castle because Noah blows a hole in the wall. And now this is important. The Marauder King gives the witch her ring back long enough to turn into a crow and then reaches and takes it away.
Yeah.
Now, what that means is left for us to interpret. I feel like maybe she's stuck as a crow now.
I think that's kind of what the implication was there. But
yeah. And then he puts the ring around his neck, and this is Chekhov's gun, folks. If you put a gun on the mantle in the first act,
you got to use it.
Fired in the third. So
you got to use it.
You very specifically see him put that ring on a rope around his neck. So he's wearing the ring like a necklace now. That's important.
Mm-hmm.
And the Ewoks and Wilford Brimley have ran off to his ship with the battery. They have obtained the power of the stars because Teek's super fast, I think, and he grabbed it. And now they're going to power up that ship and blast all the Marauders. And so they go running after it. Let me just the head Marauder guy's sword.
Yes.
Is sweet.
Yeah.
So, Dan, we have to discuss this fight. We must.
Okay.
We must discuss this fight.
As they arrive, right?
Okay.
It's just the design. The sword looks cool, but they couldn't design a holster or a scabbard for it. He's constantly just
carrying
handing it to other dudes to hold it for a minute while he points or gets on a blurg. Every time he does something, he has to turn around, hand his sword to somebody else, and then they carry it for a little while and they hand it back to him.
Yeah.
But at key times.
But of course they can't get the ship up and running fast enough because drama, the stakes. Definitely. he has to curse it. He has to do some Han Solo moments where he flips switches and it doesn't work. And he's like, he doesn't have 3PO there to tell him that the computer told him that they made it, So anyway,
Sure.
he's trying to get it working. And a big battle ensues. Big-ish. It depends on your definition of a big battle.
These
This
were
is-
the creatures that overthrew the Empire.
Yeah.
Yes.
And here's the thing. They overthrew the Empire with spears and logs and booby traps. Okay. And
Yes.
they come charging in with blasters and just are like, I mean, it's like Indiana Jones with the gun. They come in and they're just like, ha ha ha, kaboom. You know what I mean? It was hilarious that these creatures that were known for their resourcefulness end up just kind of falling back on the best technology and just overriding these marauders. It's just really fun.
And what was funny is like they used, I swear there was footage from Return of the Jedi in that battle.
Yeah.
I thought
Like-
so too. I thought
There were scenes of Ewoks coming up over a ridge and firing
Yeah.
arrows. And I'm like, that's from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And then there was one where they swing on a rope and fall on top of a blurg or something. And I'm like, it was exactly the sequence,
Yeah.
only with an animal instead of an act that they take
Yeah.
over. But anyway, and then they catch the blurg's foot on fire so that they stampede.
That's
But of course,
sweet.
the little girl leaves the safety of the ship because Wicket gets caught in one of Noah's traps or whatever,
Yeah.
and she's taken hostage.
He's dangling over the guys.
Yeah.
and-
They're gonna pinata him with lasers.
Yeah. You gotta love that they all look up and not one of their instincts is to do anything. They're just like, let's
Well, they
just stand
aim.
let's just stand here until something happens for the plot, you know. It
So,
anyway.
yeah, so they get taken out because the little girl wants, but now she gets taken hostage, and the Marauder King sends Teak or Wicket or somebody to tell Noah, like, tell the old man to bring me the power of the stars or the girl dies.
I'm getting real tired of not having the power of the stars.
Yeah. So then we get
Maybe you didn't hear me the first 12 times, but
and Wilford Brimley brings the battery. Like, this guy's stupid. You
yeah.
could have just wrapped up who knows what. You could have found like a bag of bolts and been like, this is it. But no, he brings the actual thing. And the whole thing is like, he's
He
like,
puts it on the ground.
yep. It says, and if you kill her, you get nothing. But you let her go, and you
We
can
can
fight
fight
me
for it.
for it.
And Dan, we've
The Marauder guy next to him was like, hey, give me that sword.
we got to talk about this fight, Dan. I mean, we've got to. I'm
It was
sorry.
incredible.
Okay, now hold on. First of all, we've talked about the overall like bulkiness of this sword, okay? Like
It is a
in
common
no
huge
in
sword.
no universe would the proper weapon to go against this sword be any kind of a stick. Like
Yeah.
any
No, it's a
like
stick, dude.
a stick. Now here's the thing.
Voltron's
Okay?
sword has nothing on this sword. This is
Look-
the sword of omens, nothing on this sword. The power sword has nothing on this sword. As a matter of fact, now this was 1985. Did you notice he keeps saying, I have the power when he gets it?
Yeah.
That
yeah,
was some
I
true
know.
Masters of the Universe stuff.
Masters
right
of the
there, man.
Universe.
But
But
anyway, okay. So yeah, he's got a comically large sword.
he's got a comically large sword, and Wilford Brimley goes at him with a stick. Now, here's the thing: if you're gonna bring a stick to a sword fight,
Yeah.
you've got to be like. I mean, we should be ninja master type stuff here if you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now Wilford Brimley
this was not some samurai stick work here. Okay,
No.
this was just Wilford Brimley going like this a few times. Okay.
He is not Donatello. Wilford
No.
Brimley
And
is not
every time
Donatello.
like the stick would hit the blade, the entire sword would shake like it was made out of tinfoil.
Yeah. Like Morgan from The Walking Dead, you know, when he shows up and with his little stick and he goes all ninja and he crushes all the zombie skulls. That's really cool. This is not that, okay? This is just an old man that has a walking stick and is just like, I'm gonna show you, youngin. I mean,
Boba Fett does some pretty cool stuff with a stick in Mando season 2, right? Isn't that season 2 where he runs it? He has the big stick and he crushes some skulls with it.
But this was not
old man. This is basically a cane.
Yeah.
This is basically it's a walking stick, which is one step away from being a cane.
Yeah. Yeah. This is just a disgruntled old man going up against a guy with a sword, and somehow it all works out. I don't know how that all works out.
As you may have surmised, eventually this awesome stick, no matter how awesome it is a stick and it breaks. and he is about to meet his end. But wonder of wonders, Sindel is there with her pal Wicket. And she's like, do something, Wicket. And Wicket has his sling. And for reasons that we don't understand, Wicket hitting. Now, see, remember that ring is around his neck, and that was going to be important later.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the important thing, folks. Right here.
Wicket hits the ring with a rock. And for reasons unknown,
that turns this guy to a statue of some kind that's all burned up, right?
Yeah, turns him into a burned out husk statue thing on the ground. I thought it was going to turn him into a crow or something.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
It makes you wonder, like, the girl, when she took it from her, she wasn't like, hey, be careful with that. You know? Like,
turn it to ash.
That is the power of the stars. You don't need that little battery thing. That thing right there is a lot more powerful than anything that you're chasing right now. So
dude, how good of a shot is Wicket? I mean, he hit that ring perfect.
I think he was lucky.
Again, this is after Return of the Jedi, because in Return of the Jedi, he tries to use that sling and he hits himself in the head.
Yeah.
So
and he does a lot of clumsy stuff through both of these specials. You know,
I mean, he's been practicing really hard with that sling that he hits that tiny little. And you know what else I read in Wikipedia? Because apparently Disney Plus is doing the DVD release version. Because she just says, "Do something, Wicket, do something." In the original aired movie on ABC, the line was, "Do something, Wicket, use your sling to hit the ring." She specifically tells him to hit the ring because for some reason, now we do know that this little girl is pretty sharp, man. She makes muffins, she makes pie, she makes a damn good soup with what she can find in an old man's house. Yeah. And she knows how to tell a marauder he's an idiot because that's just a battery. But she knew that hitting that ring was going to do some stuff. How she knew, why she knew, I didn't know. Did you know?
I had no idea.
I did not.
I mean, and I think it's really funny that first of all that she thought that Wicket could do it, and second of all that she knew it would do anything. That's props to ABC. They rock on. Way to go.
Yeah, way to go. Yeah, I'm glad. I know they took that out because it's like somebody at least was like, "Why would she know that would do anything?"
Maybe, and I'm giving him too much credit. Maybe George saw it and said, "No, guys, pull that out of there." I don't know.
Maybe he watched Heidi a second time with his daughter. He's like, "You know what? I have notes. I watched Heidi a little closer."
How many times did y'all pause it in the movie to see how much time was left?
Oh man, I didn't. I actually watched both of these through without too much trouble, and it wasn't big. Now, have you watched the holiday special yet, Jason?
Not yet.
I have not yet either.
I'm just going to tell you both that the last time that I watched it, I've seen it all the way through 3 times. Okay.
Oh God.
And the last time I watched it was about a year ago. And I can tell you that the last time I watched it, I had to watch it in 3 different segments because it's that bad. So just prepare yourselves. Okay. Just prepare yourselves. So anyway, but yeah,
You out there, Tim, Jason, and I are going to get together. We're going to watch the holiday special, and we're going to record it, and it's going to premiere live 9:00 Thanksgiving Day. That will be Nerd Side Chance for Thanksgiving. We will not be here live, but I will be in the live chat for anybody who's watching and making comments. I'll reply, and we'll spend Thanksgiving talking about the wonderful holiday special. We'll
all cry together. We'll all cry together, guys. I don't know why we're going to do this to ourselves.
Hey, we're this far in. We've watched 2 Ewok Adventures.
If we don't do the holiday special, it completes the set. It's like when you get all the Flintstone cups and you're missing Barney, and you're like, I got to go buy Barney.
Yeah.
So it's.
But yeah, we got the blurgs. The blurgs were very good. They were good enough. They've been used again, right? It was very satisfying to watch the entire Tawani family die in the opening 5 minutes after having to sit through Caravan of Courage. I will say that. Jason, you watch Caravan of Courage so you could properly enjoy watching the Tawanis meet their demise.
Yeah,
exactly. It's on my list.
And you'll actually get upset that the girl lives, actually. But,
she is much more upset in Caravan of Courage when her parents are missing than she is when her whole family is dead in this movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, in Caravan of Courage, they actually put glue on her face to look like tears.
Yeah.
And she acts like she's crying because her parents are being held and she knows it. She wants to go get them. This one, she's just like, my family's dead.
They're
and that's just
dead.
Like, damn, better make some soup.
Oh, man.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
What a flick.
Yeah. It was just. And then, so of course, and then we get the ET in reverse where the humans are the aliens that are leaving because obviously having turned the Marauder King into ash or stone or whatever, and then the crow flies by right after that, like, damn. You could tell that, like, the witch, I'm pretty sure the witch is stuck as a crow now.
Yeah.
Because the ring is fused.
Well, and you would think to yourself, like Noah or somebody, they would just be like, you know what? Let's just check this planet out for you Ewoks and make sure you're going to be good from now on. Because there were other things here that we didn't know about. So, but no, they didn't do that. So
we've got Marauders and Sweetums monsters and the Empire by building Death Stars.
Giant spiders and dragons. And I mean, let's just make sure you guys are going to be all right.
If this movie would have been made today, there would have been an end credit scene where that bird went to that statue and started pecking on the ring.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but no, actually, no, the witch would have joined them. She would have been a good guy by the end of today's version, but maybe the dragon.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, the witch would have had her own spinoff show coming.
So they put the power cell into Noah's ship and they're off on their way. They're leaving Endor now because after missing so many opportunities to leave Endor, Noah's marooned there like it's Gilligan's Island, but a whole war is taking place. There's been all kinds of crap going down, but now he's like, well, I've got this battery in my hand. I guess I don't have an excuse not to leave anymore. So and so they have but it's funny. It's like the little girl saying goodbye to Wicket and Noah saying goodbye to Teak. It's an ET moment.
I'm really confused. So is Noah just going to show up at his base and be like, hey guys, what the implication?
Okay, Jason, what's
Okay. So at the end of Thor Ragnarok, where they're like in space, and he's like, "It's all gonna work out," and they roll up on Thanos' ship.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
My
So the
fan
Empire.
fiction is it's the First Order or whatever the new Empire is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna run into the First Order right as they take off. It's
Victims
gonna be
of
the First Order right there.
That's right.
Because, like, what base would he even be going back to? Like, is Noah an Imperial officer?
Well, and that's
is
the
he-
thing. He was wearing like a weird tunic the whole time. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
Like,
So is he
and
from the Old Republic?
it was
is
like,
he
yeah,
from the Trade Federation.
it was not really
Like-
clear, what he was supposed to be here for, and so
Maybe he's a clone trooper.
Mhm.
No,
Maybe
no,
Noah's a
I didn't
clone.
think that.
Maybe one of the clones, kind of instead of looking like what's his name, Morrison, he ends up looking like Wilford Brimley.
Are you telling me that half of the stormtroopers have diabetes now?
Yes. They all have diabetes.
They know the cure for diabetes.
Yeah, the Emperor is producing insulin like crazy. They have whole worlds dedicated to insulin production.
No wonder he needed pie, right?
Yeah. His blood sugar was crashing. Oh. But like again, it really was an improvement from Caravan of Courage. They were like, oh, those actors were terrible. You know what we'll do? We'll kill them all off. It's confusing what's going on. You know what we'll do? We'll just make the Ewoks talk. Why not? Hey, we got Josh is here. Hey, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
How's it going, buddy? We've been
If you
watching
haven't
Ewok
watched
special,
Battle for
Josh.
Endor, Josh, you are missing some quality entertainment. Let me tell
Oh,
you.
yeah. Yes, this is
The
grade
greatest
A 80s
swordplay
cheese.
of all time.
This is cheese like you don't know. I mean,
Yeah. So
Josh hasn't watched the Battle for Endor since he was 10.
oh boy,
So,
yeah,
if you have fond memories, Josh, just hold on to the fond memories.
yeah.
Just
Don't go
because
back.
I had fond memories.
Yeah.
And we just finished. We watched Caravan of Courage. We watched Battle for Endor, and they're not good. They're not good. they are entertainingly bad, though. They're not frustratingly bad. You can laugh at how bad they are.
Yeah, I would say this is just right on par with all those movies that we've talked about before, Dan, where we just like to sit here and make fun of them the whole time. This is your Mystery Science 3000 kind of show where you can just watch it. You can laugh about it. I mean, the three of us just had a blast. I don't think any of us took a breath when we were talking about that fight with Wilford Brimley and the Marauder. We were just laughing so hard. So this is the kind of stuff that you can enjoy. You can find enjoyment in these things. It's just hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know if Josh remembers. But Wilford Brimley has a sword battle with a walking cane. Just good 80s cheese. It is quintessentially 80s cheese, man.
80s, man. That in the 80s, those guys would have had a nerdgasm if they had seen the cast and who was going to be in it and who they were going to become later on. I mean, it's just crazy, man. Willow. I remember when Willow came out, it was a huge deal. Okay, it was like a huge deal, and so Warwick Davis being in this, and then Paul Gleason and all those, like we said before, it was crazy, man.
Like
Ice Pirates. Yep.
You know what we didn't touch on that we should all be ashamed of ourselves about?
What's that?
The catapult scene where it's
man. Oh, I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
And again, that George is all over this because this is such.
Is it's so Jar Jar Binks. Yeah, it's Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar again.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of the battle. The battle's breaking out, and Noah's like, I got a catapult out there somewhere, and you get 5 Ewoks trying to make this catapult work for half the battle.
It's like the Marx Brothers trying to put out a fire. It's just like, I mean, it's just crazy,
It does. Finally, that's how they save Wicket. Remember, one of the Ewoks jumps on the catapult, is like, shoot me with it, and then he gets shot, and he lands on the guy that's about to shoot Wicket.
It's incredible.
Quality entertainment. And see, like the stakes are so are so low that you could actually enjoy it, as opposed to when you're
Yeah.
sitting there at Phantom Menace and you're just like, what am I
Why?
watching? Why?
Yeah.
This is Showtime, George. This is not the ABC TV special. We don't need the
Yeah.
slapstick in the middle of the battle here.
Yeah.
I collected all of these Mountain Dew cans for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I'll never forget the first time I saw episode 1, which was opening night, and it actually came out. This is before midnight showings. It came out during school, and I skipped school to go see it. Okay, and I went and saw it with one of my friends, and he said to me, he said, "How is this guy killing half this army by accident?" He said this to me in the middle of the theater, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, we were already checked out. So, yes.
So, everybody, I'm Dan. That's Tim. Down there, that's Jason. Jason is our guest. We are the Nerd Champs. They'll find you, Jason, on Instagram, right?
Yep.
All right. We will eventually, we're not very good at updating them, but we will eventually get a link to Jason's Instagram in the description so you can find and follow Jason. So, all right. Until next time, folks, like, share, and subscribe.